first tenant talk. I'm Derek. I'm the owner of NetGain Property Management. We're here with Tyler Bond with Esusu. He's going to be going over a partnership that we've had going for the last 6 months, kind of how it benefits you guys as our tenants, and then how, if you're not seeing the results, how you can contact us so that we can make sure that you are seeing the benefit of this. So with that, thank you, Tyler, for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you to go over everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Derek. As Derek mentioned, Esusu and NetGain have partnered up with the ultimate goal of improving the tenant's financial health. We're completely on your side on this. Rest assured, this is at no cost to the tenants. This is something that Derek has willingly taken on, and we're very, very proud and honored to be partnered with him. It seems that, he has your best interest in mind, and we would like to think we do too. And with that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. So who are we at Esusu? We completely realize there is a massive wealth gap in the country today. You can break that down even further if you want to get into the racial aspect of things. But what we at Esusu do is we want to help bridge that wealth gap. And how we do that is by improving your credit scores. And we realize that, it's just a small number. Unfortunately, that has certainly defined, or at least people like lenders, I think that credit score defines who you are as a borrower. And what we want to do is we're here to help you increase that score and increase your borrowing power, and eventually, hopefully, your purchasing power. So what is credit, and how can you build it? So what we do is we report your on-time payments to the credit bureaus and watch your credit score increase over time. Yeah, a lot of people are just unaware of how much more benefits in life from a financial perspective you would have with a better credit score compared to a more poor credit score. For example, here we have Rick with a 649 credit score and Amir with a 788. On the same $200,000 mortgage, Rick with a 649 would have a $1,000 31 payment and save about $24,000 over the life of that mortgage if you were to have a poorer credit score compared to a 649 now. Amir, on the other hand, compared to Amir, has a $910 a month payment and saves almost $70,000 at the life of that mortgage. There's some other examples here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I feel like you kind of get the gist of what we're trying to do here. And say you have a mortgage, an auto loan, and a $35,000 student loan refinance, and you have these credit scores. Look at Amir's; it's $74,000 in savings compared to Rick at about $27,000. So a higher credit score does open a lot of doors for you. It does make you a better borrower, and basically just improves your life. You have a better shot at getting the loan that you want, buying the house you want, getting the car you want. And yeah, and that's what we at Esusu do. We want to unlock that power for you, and we do that by building your credit score. So a couple of people we partnered with, Serena Williams has actually reached out and personally invested into our rent relief fund, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. And I'm not going to bore you with everything else, but the government has actually started to back our program as well. We have incentives, and this is mainly for the owners of the world, with Fannie and Freddie, to where our services would be free to their tenants if they were to finance through a Freddie or Fannie loan, excuse me. So this is the breakdown of the Esusu platform. And again, Derek, if I'm going too fast, feel free to ask questions at any time. Doesn't bother me at all.
You're good.
But what we do at Esusu, we have 3 different aspects here. We have Esusu rent reporting, which I briefly touched on. We have Esusu rent relief, which I'll touch on as well. And it's one of our newer branches that has been incredibly successful from both an owner and tenant perspective. And social impact reporting. The social impact reporting is mainly for Derek. That's kind of an impact report that we send to him, breaking down overall credit score increases, increasing his bottom line, his NOI, and basically just to show Derek and other owners how much your financial health has increased after investing in Esusu. So how the rent reporting arm works, I'll start with the first of 3. You as a tenant would pay your rent. We would track that and report that to the 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And over time, your credit score will improve. It is noted that at first your credit score might dip because it's going to be read as a new trade line, as a new loan in your credit report. The following month after that, it's going to recognize that that's not a new loan. And typically your credit score will improve back to what it was. And then after that 3rd month, you'll typically see your credit score increases. We have some numbers. I thought I added this slide. I apologize, but it really depends on where you start with your credit. But at Esusu, we have an average of nearly a 30-point increase after a year to your credit score, which is something we're extremely, extremely proud of. And one thing to note is, even if you miss a payment, we're not going to report you negatively. Your credit report, your credit score is not going to go down if you were to miss one payment. We actually have an option to where it's not going to be read as a missed payment through our rent relief program, which I will tackle in just a second. And speaking of that, moving on, we have rent relief. Say that you have a steady job, a steady income. Derek says you're a great tenant, and maybe you fell in hard times. Maybe you lost your job you had for a good bit. Maybe there's a medical emergency that would cause you to not be able to afford rent the next month. We actually have this program, Esusu Rent Relief, which is a 0% interest loan that you could apply for, and if approved, we would actually send the funds to Derek, and he would clear that bad balance from your account. And after that, you would actually pay us back in 12-month equal installments at 0% interest. It's an incredible program. It's less than a year old, but it is definitely one of the more popular branches of Esusu. We encourage you, if you anticipate, or if maybe you're a month behind rent, if you anticipate having any trouble, feel free to apply for rent relief. Feel free to include as much information as you possibly can in your rent relief application, and hopefully you're approved. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully you're approved. And you can stay housed. We definitely want you to stay where you are. We don't want Derek to have to, pay anything to possibly remove you, because that's the last thing we want at Esusu. That's our ultimate goal, is to improve your credit score and keep you housed. But yes, one thing to note is this is a 0% interest loan. If you want to call it a loan, let's consider more of a grant that you would have to pay back over 12-month equal installments. We can actually work with you on any type of repayment plan, but that's kind of the standard of how we do things in terms of Esusu Rent Relief. And the application is a very, very easy process. It takes about 2 minutes. If you want to go to esusurent.com/rent-relief /, you would sign up with a custom referral code that I've actually shared with Derek. He can actually send those to you. He can hang up flyers at the properties that will have that rent relief custom referral code. We call it a TKL over here at Esusu. But what you do is you fill out all the application, include that TKL, and basically that narrows down what property that you are applying for, just so it doesn't get lost in the system. And how that typically works, once you apply, it's going to get shot over to Derek or someone on site. They can verify that the information is correct, that your information is correct, and then it gets sent on to our underwriters. Our underwriters do a due diligence process. That's taken about 2 to 3 weeks right now. We want to get that shortened, obviously, because we want to get those disbursements shot out as quickly as possible. And once they approve it, we would send the funds to Derek and deposit in the bank account, and he would actually apply that to your ledger. And it will read that you did not miss a payment, and then we work with you for us to pay us back. And I threw this in there a little bit. Derek, this is some materials that I sent you. But yes, this is an example of a flyer that hopefully Derek, and actually we can send to you if Derek would like us to. Just kind of breaking down, the rent relief application process. It actually has this TKL code right here that I'm hovering over at the moment. You would input that and include that in your application. Send it off to Derek. If he approves, goes to our underwriting team. If they approve, we deposit the funds in Derek's bank account. And just with the form on the right is more or less rent reporting involved. We have a 33%, I said 30-point increase earlier, but yeah, our average right now is about a 33-point increase over a 12-month period in terms of improving your credit score. And a 33-point increase goes a long way. It can bring you from subprime to prime, actually, and you will have considerably less interest rates on any loans that you would actually apply for. And that's actually all I have for you, Derek. I know I made that as short and sweet as possible. I tried to keep it as high level as possible as well. Not to confuse anyone, whether it's you or the tenants. I just want to give you a high level overview. And I'm going to open it up to you, Derek. If you have any questions, or if there's anyone else on the call that has any questions, feel free to hop in.
No, I think that's perfect. Thank you for that. Two things.
Good.
So some of the newer tenants that we've had won't have seen this yet that we've been at. But those that have been longer term, if they haven't seen it show up, one, kind of tell them what to look for. How will it show up on their credit report? And then two, if they haven't seen it yet, what kind of the steps you want them to do so we can make sure that that's being taken care of.
Absolutely. So what's going to show up on the trade line, it's going to be a Suzu dash, I would imagine net gain. We intentionally did that because we don't want tenants to be like, what in the world is this on their credit score, or excuse me, on their credit report, especially if they're unfamiliar with the Suzu. So one thing that we try to do, Derek, is we're going to send you all these marketing materials again. We can do that on a monthly basis too. And that way we can kind of get in the cadence of making sure that you're sending this out to the tenants to make them aware, whether they're current tenants or future tenants or recently newly signed tenants. But yes, just to answer your first question, it's going to pop up as a Suzu dash net gain on their trade line. And again, we want to make sure that they're aware that this is going to happen. Before that first report hits, where that's on their credit report.
Perfect. If they haven't seen it pop up yet, what would you like them to do or send to us for proof that we can forward on to you so that we can do the research to see why that's not coming up?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I think you almost answered your own question in your question. Yes, but if they want to reach out to you, you can reach out to us directly, and we have an incredible engineering and implementation team. We can kind of dive in to why they might not be reported on. We'd love to sit here and say, hey, this is a perfect system. That does happen every now and then, but we have a dedicated team that we hired specifically for that reason. So if any tenants are confused, if they want to reach out to you, they can reach out to us directly, even if they want to. But yeah, if in a typical scenario, they'd reach out to you saying, hey, I really want to be a part of this program. I don't see it on my credit report. Feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to open up something called an engineering ticket, and we have an amazing team that tackles those tickets as quickly as possible.
Sounds great. Thank you. Does anyone else on the call have any other questions, or speak now or forever hold your peace? So, okay. Well, awesome. Thank you, Tyler. We'll just be in touch as stuff's going through, but we're really excited for it. We're excited to see the impacts that we're already starting to see with our tenants, and the increase in that credit reporting. It's making a huge difference, and hopefully our tenants can see it too, because I see it on my end, and I'm excited about what we're seeing.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you taking the time. And we'll just let you get on with your day. So thanks again.
Sounds good. No, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Rochelle, and any tenants that joined. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever.
Sounds great. Thank you.